At the kitchen table across from my boo, she plays new Marshmallow. Gosh, that's deja vu. Oh, what a fable to Medusa the Mallow Man, but she's got too many cards in her hand.
Come on now, let's play some Lorcana. With Pirate Donald Duck, it's a nirvana. We'll down a Dole floater, tulip popsicles, play red and blue, a smorgasbord of lords, Lorcana.
Woo, doggy.
Shout out to everybody in North Savo, Finland.
We hear you.
We see you.
And you hear us.
Yeah, we can see through the Spotify analytics the rough geographic locations of some of our listeners, and we can tell that we have one dedicated listener in North Savo, and so this introduction is for you.
Just for you, person. We don't know anything else about them.
No, but, I wouldn't mind going to Finland, so can we stay on your couch is my perpetual question to all of our listeners.
And if so, we'll be there tomorrow with bags. What do you have to pack for Finland?
It's
know
cold,
right?
I know from the opening song of the musical Spamalot,
yes,
clearly an informational kind of show, that they enjoy pony trekking.
Or camping.
Or just watching TV. Yeah, so I mean, I assume that they'll have a TV and the gear for camping, so I guess we just have to figure out what pony trekking is and what we need to pony trek.
Okay, well, we'll be on your doorstep on a pony in just a few days.
On to the Lorcana content.
Welcome to Smorcana.
I'm Brett.
I'm Katie.
And we are clearly the worldwide #1 snack/Lorcana/Disney crossover podcast.
Internationally known and adored.
There is so much to talk about.
OMG.
We just watched the final for the first ever North American Disney Lorcana Challenge, which ended shortly after the first overall Disney Lorcana Challenge in Atlanta. Congrats to Josh Paltry, who was playing a very cool fairy godmother Mufasa Amber Amethyst list.
Yeah, that was a crazy list.
So cool. How amazing is it to see somebody come up with this left field deck with 4 Perditas in it and take it all the way?
I mean, it's what we've been wishing for a long time, right? Is that it's the kind of a game where you can build a cool twist on a deck and have it do well.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of deck that we didn't see a lot throughout the whole set championship season. And then all of a sudden this pops up at the biggest tournament to date. We're going to talk more about the Disney Lorcana Challenge in our appetizer course today.
Yummy.
As a little bit of a preview, I do want to mention that we are going to Texas.
Oh my gosh.
We are going to
so excited about this.
Dallas, Fort Worth, baby.
We cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. We were freaking out trying to get the tickets for it because, everyone knows there's been so much hoopla around getting to these challenges. But we were lucky enough to get through. We each got a ticket to compete.
Y'all, Katie is a star because what really happened was I was super sick this week and was laid up pretty much sleeping through most of the day. This week, I couldn't move, couldn't get up off the couch. Was ill with a chest head cold, and I completely slept through the noon start of sales.
Yes, and I was in my car because I was on my lunch break, going from just traveling for my job, and I was trying to call you and text you because to register you need your Melee name, and as many people will know, your Melee name doesn't make any sense. Like mine's Cat R29P7, whatever. And I didn't know what Brett's was, and I was like, oh my god! And I got to that point, and just at that point, you texted me and you were like, I just woke up. I'm doing it now. And I was like, no. And I called you and I put it in there and then we were both all set. It was a miracle.
You were a hero, an absolute hero. I am so chuffed to bits to be attending one of these events during your summer vacation.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. We're making it into a little bit of a trip here too. So we're hoping to stop by some local gaming stores down in the Southwest, kind of check out those scenes a little bit.
Yeah, we're thinking of starting our journey down in Austin, which we know is a hotbed where Daniel and Lily are down there. Shout out to y'all. And the Illumateers, I think, are down there. And like Lorcana, bro, I think it's a big hotbed. So it'd be really cool to meet some of y'all. If we start in Austin, check out some of the art scene there. Then we're going to go up to Dallas, Fort Worth, and go to the big event there. And then we're going to be making our way all the way to SoCal, which is kind of where our trip is going to end. So
yeah, Disneyland is our destination. So
if you are playing Lorcana in any part of that route between roughly Austin and Anaheim, let us know. We'd love to catch up with y'all this summer.
Can't wait. We're really looking forward to it. And that's only in, a couple months, a little less than 2 months. So we got to start beefing up our Lorcana game here. Things are finally starting to settle down for both of us in terms of schedules. So we can't wait to get to it. We're going to spend Memorial Day tomorrow at the time of recording playing Lorcana all day. So really looking forward to that. We haven't been able to play too much with this new set yet.
For a bit of context, we're both involved with theater, and Katie had what is called a tech week last week, where you are putting all the technical elements together for a show. It basically eats up every single waking moment of your life. So we have played a grand total of 2 games of Constructed using Ursula's return cards. So we're really looking forward to finally diving in together and playing some games.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We can't wait.
Also, a side effect of being sick is I missed the draft that was at our local gaming store.
I know, such a shame.
We were supposed to talk about that this week for a topic, but I don't really have much to discuss in that regard at the moment. So I think we'll wait for a later date and shelve that topic. And we have plenty of other things to discuss.
I mean, what we can discuss about that's encouraging is that we heard from our friends who were at that event that there were a lot of new people in our area who had showed up to play, which is really exciting. There were a lot of other ladies there who showed up to play. So it feels like the community for Lorcana is growing, which is really encouraging for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
To know that it's going to just keep on rocking, especially in our area. That's great.
Yeah, New Hampshire is doing fine as far as Lorcana community building goes. We are seeing new folks every event, it seems. In other exciting news, the prizes were revealed for the Ursula's Return Set Championships.
Ooh!
And this is going to be really exciting. It's running all the way through July this time, only on weekends. So it's 4 weekends in July. Hopefully that opens up access to more folks, because before it was like if you happen to not have availability those 2 weekends, you couldn't go to any events at all.
Right. That's what happened to you.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's great that more folks are going to have an opportunity based on scheduling potentially. It does stink if you're somebody who always works weekends that you can't run the events on weekdays this go around, I guess.
Right. But hopefully having the month to work around it will hopefully make that easier for people.
Yeah, hopefully a little easier to work around. I do have one significant complaint, which is that, again, there is no participation prize.
Yeah, that's odd.
I think that there is a valid excuse in that they have to print these months in advance, plan these months in advance, get the art all set, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think that they could look at the data from the Inkland Set Championships and then suddenly turn around and produce a prize card.
Sure.
But I would still have liked them to have pushed that issue, because I think it would have alleviated some of the bad feelings, the bad juju that might have been swirling around after the last round of Set Champs.
Yeah, and that's what our biggest compliment to our local gaming store about how they ran the last Set Championships was having those participation prizes. It was so cool, and it just made a nice little boost for everybody.
I'm seriously considering hiring an artist and printing a ton of promos to distribute en masse. Because I think it'd be really cool, and it'll be some kind of alternate Ursula art, and then in the text box it can say, Ursula's Return Set Championships 2024 or something like that, or maybe on the card back. That would be something that, a token, a little memento might be really cool. It's something that we've done in other card games is do custom prizes for different events.
Yeah, that would be great. Something cool. I'm sure that eventually the set championships will grow to have some kind of prizing built into it. Yeah. I'm assuming. I guess I'm hoping more than anything, but
I don't think that they had the time to implement it this go around. I'm sure that's the reason, because I can't think of another reason that they have these Dragonfire promos at the Disney Lorcana Challenges. So they clearly know like it's a good thing to reward people who are participating. So to not have them at a level that is more of a gateway, is more introductory, it doesn't really make sense. So maybe we'll have to take matters into our own hands and do some like Smorcana custom prints.
Yeah, we'll give people hot, fresh s'mores when they walk in.
Maybe we'll do like marshmallows or something, like custom marshmallows.
We should.
I don't know, something, right?
Yeah, something cool.
So we don't have too much to say about the meta as of yet. We were thinking that maybe we'd get to this, but honestly, we haven't been able to experience it too much. I got some games in on Pixelborn this week and started brewing up some fun stuff. Just to kind of give a quick overview for folks, what it seems to be right now is a binary Emerald Steel versus Ruby Sapphire meta in the early stages. Basically, you have this Floodborn deck with Bucky and then Diablo, and cards like the new Floodborn 3-cost Aladdin, and you can quickly strip your opponent's hand and win out from there. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got the new version of Popsicle with the ice blocks. You can reduce the strength of your opponent's characters, play Brawl, play the small Sisu, play the big Sisu that discard characters based on strength, and take control of the game in that way. Those are two very, very strong early decks for sure, but there are a lot of counters in the meta. I'm impressed with the design so far in that there are many, many answers to problem cards in general. So for instance, like a card like Diablo is best answered by a common card from the first chapter in Fire the Cannons, right? You can pay 1 to discard your opponent's Diablo instantly, right? So, there are these answers built in for most cards, for most decks. Oh, if your opponent's reducing your strength, then buff it up with Lumiere, et cetera, right? There are a few cards like Madame Medusa is a difficult one in that you can't necessarily buff some of your characters out of range, and it does hurt their usefulness to some degree, like a card like Perdita, which maybe isn't the best example because it featured prominently in the deck that just won the challenge in Atlanta. Yeah. But, a card like Perdita, right? It's hard to buff her out of the range of Madame Medusa. But, so there are always going to be strong cards, and strong cards are important, and strong decks are going to exist. It's an anomaly when there are metas like the Inklands meta and there are 10 different viable decks. It does seem like we're trending towards a metagame where the decks are more concentrated. The strongest decks are more concentrated up at that tier 1 level. But that shouldn't discourage you from continuing to investigate and innovate and try things and throw things at the wall to see what might stick. We're going to cover this a little bit more next week, though, as we have a better idea ourselves of what the meta is looking to be like.
Yeah, exciting stuff, though.
Tons. We've already been talking for, I don't know, like 10, 12 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
14. We've been talking for 14 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump right into our appetizer course.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk about these Lorcana challenges.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about how great it is to watch Lorcana coverage.
It was so much fun. Now, we obviously weren't there, so this is coming from the perspective of observers from a distance and kind of tapping into what we saw on the streams, which we were able to catch a bunch of, and tapping into social media and Discords and seeing what the reactions were from folks who were there and trying to create a conglomerate of public opinion.
Watching the chat that was happening, we were watching on Twitch, obviously, and watching like the live chat next to it was really exciting. Just seeing how honestly like overly positive it was. And now I know that like, they take out any like negative comments, but still it's just, overall the vibes that we were seeing with people like wearing little silly Stitch hats or having their Lorcana pins on, and just I don't know, the vibe just seemed really good, and it was exciting and it was encouraging for us for Texas too.
Yeah, really, really exciting. I want to highlight the participation prizes again, which I think is fantastic. The Dragonfire cards look absolutely beautiful, and then beyond that, they had a bunch of Ravensburger employees who were walking around and giving out free packs of cards and free promos and things if you were dressed as in cosplay. There was a cosplay Peter Pan. DeCandio was a cosplay Peter Pan. There were cosplay Bell Hidden Archers and Brunos and Aladdin. So that was really, really neat. And so rewarding that kind of participation is fantastic.
Yeah, you love to see it. We also really enjoyed seeing some of our favorite content creators there. Some of them were casting the coverage that we were watching. It was cool to see their live reactions to it. It reminded us of the times we've watched Hearthstone in that same kind of a format where you get to watch the competitions happen live and you get to see what the competitors are doing and you get to watch their faces react to what they're playing. I thought it was covered really well. You could see they did a good job of showing you what cards were being played and giving you that kind of bird's eye view.
Yeah, the stream was generally of pretty good quality, and it improved over the course of the weekend too. So like they started showing angles that revealed the player's hands. That was really, really cool. And that wasn't present in the first, like half of all of the coverage. And then they started adding that. So you can see that they had their minds on like, what can we do better, etc. And I'd say it's stacked up, for the first time that they were putting this together, the quality was really, really watchable. I think they're going to find ways to tighten it up and fill some of the space. And I think there was a lot of space to fill because of some of the other issues that the tournament was having, which we'll get to. But overall, it was a very watchable, very entertaining experience. Again, shout out to the casters like Spessy and Lorcana Villain and Rebecca and the Lumiteers, and I'm missing some, but everybody did such a great job.
It was great. It was really entertaining to watch. What about things that did not go as well?
Well, the Melee platform kept crashing apparently.
Right, I remember seeing that in the comments, and they paused coverage for a while too.
Yep, they had paused coverage, and then they also had to fill. The casters were filling time, and it was during a time when both tournaments were running. So in Lille and Atlanta, there was a standstill while they were trying to figure out where seedings were and how to progress to the next round. So that can't happen. Like, it's not a complicated enough kind of mathematical function that you need to execute. So even at 2,000 people, we do have this technology in the world, so that needs to be rectified. That just can't happen. It makes a long day a lot longer and a lot more stressful, and that waiting around, people start to get hungry, they get antsy, they get anxious, they don't want to play. It's there's human needs that aren't being met when that kind of thing happens. So it just can't happen, and I expect that it won't happen.
I feel like that happens all the time with Melee, at least like locally. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, Melee, hold on, it's broken.
Yeah, it happened at our local. I wasn't there for it, but from what I understand, you were there, right? At Somersworth, at Diversions, there was a problem where Melee kind of crashed for a little bit.
Yeah.
And, some of the players are then coming up and thinking they know how to fix Melee. And,
it's so frustrating.
It ends up being this really, really frustrating experience.
And they're on the phone with Melee, trying to figure it out. And it's like, oh my gosh. And like you said, it's not that complicated, Melee.
Right.
You're just, ugh.
Yeah.
So hopefully a big patch is coming for Melee or something.
Mm-hmm. And I think as Melee gets smoother in its implementation, some of the other issues might get rectified as well, which is namely that there needs to be additional rounds, probably. That there were not enough rounds of Swiss given the number of players at each tournament. to avoid having so many bubblers.
What's a bubbler?
So, I mean, just mean people who are knocked out of the day 2 or the next cut based on record, but they had the same record as folks who did make the cut. So it's coming down to different tiebreakers and things. So like if I have the same record as you and you make the cut and I don't, then I bubbled out.
Why would you not make the cut and I would?
Because maybe you have a better tiebreaker, strength of schedule, etc.
Oh.
It does happen, right? Even at tournaments that have enough Swiss rounds, that can happen, right? It's never going to work out perfectly. Like, okay, we had 2,000 people and we're trying to cut to exactly 64. You're not going to end up with 64 people who have a good enough record. It's going to be 66 or 67 people have a good enough record. And those last few people don't have the right tiebreakers. And so they bubble out, right?
That makes sense. I'd never heard that before. Never heard of bubblers before. I mean, I'd heard of bubblers before that you drink out of. But
Bubblers.
Yeah.
It's a water fountain if you're not from New England.
Bubbler.
It's a bubble up here. Up here we got bubblers.
Because the water, it bubbles out
Yeah,
of the machine.
Comes right from the Charles River, kid.
It bubbles. It's the bubbler.
I talked like that until I was about like 6 or 7, and like my accent started to fade. And whenever I start to talk to my mom, it comes back.
Yeah. Bubbler.
Bubbler. Anyway, as Melee gets smoother in its implementation, there will be more time for more rounds. You won't have as much dead time, hopefully, and we can get from round to round a little bit quicker. There shouldn't be, 60 or 70 or 80 people who miss out on the next cut because of strength of schedule. Like, you just needed another round of Swiss or 2, right? So hopefully that gets rectified as the tournaments continue.
Yeah, definitely.
I've also heard that the prize ticket economy was kind of wonky. I heard some exploitations and some kind of like weird workarounds of the system.
What do you mean by prize tickets?
So at the events, they gave out different prize tickets for different things. Like when you entered, you got prize tickets. If you got a certain placement in the tournament, you got some prize tickets. And if you played in side events, you could win prize tickets. And then you would use these prize tickets as a currency to purchase different Lorcana goodies, right? So like you could buy like Lorcana hats or like a booster box, or the things that most people wanted were these non-foil versions of the Cinderella and the Rapunzel promos, or a Cinderella foil playmat, right? Which was like 100 tickets or something. And so folks were apparently buying extra attendee badges to get extra tickets that they could effectively purchase the promos. And then meanwhile, the folks who were hoping to play side events to win their prize tickets, they couldn't play in enough side events because Melee wasn't working properly. They didn't have the organizational infrastructure in place to to even run all of these side events because there was such demand for it, right? Like if you're cutting to a 64 on people on day 2 from a 2,000 person field and you have attendees and observers, you have potentially like thousands of people still, 2,000, 2,500 people who want to play in side events. And I think that a lot of folks who wanted to play in those events couldn't. And there were then a dearth of tickets given out. So, the folks who found those workarounds, like buying the extra badges, got tickets, and the folks who wanted to win them playing the game couldn't. So hopefully that gets rectified.
Yeah, yikes.
You get the feeling that continually with Lorcana, it's like they don't expect things to be as big as they are.
Right. Yeah, they're like constantly being surprised, like, oh my God, people showed up?
Right.
Like, what are we going to do?
I think even with like the Stitch promos,
yeah.
I think one of the reasons that there were only 4 given out is that they didn't expect there to be 55, 60 person set championships. They're like, oh, like this will be fun for the 10 people who go and play Lorcana at the store every week, and they can have their own little tournament, and some of them will get a cool Stitch promo. No, it's like this cutthroat 70 people duking it out for these 4 cards, and you made top 8 and lost in top 8? Tough luck, buddy. You get nothing.
Too bad. You get nothing. That's Lorcana.
Yeah. And so it just creates this like super like cutthroat weird atmosphere. So I think just like there are all these issues where they just don't expect things to be as popular, as big as they are, and they can't respond to demand quite fast enough, right? It's a big ship to start turning. It takes a while. Printing takes forever at scale like that. So I have confidence that these issues will be rectified. It's just kind of a question of when.
That was a delicious appetizer.
Anything else you want to say about Lorcana Challenges? You pumped for the circuit?
I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
I mean, I'm like counting down the days till Texas. It was so cool to watch that coverage. It just got me amped up for it. I can't wait. Feels like we're going to jump into the TV screen.
Yeah, it's going to be super
excited.
fun.
I can't wait.
How cool would it be to meet some of the designers?
I know.
Ryan Miller was there all weekend.
And to meet some fellow content creators. Like, that'll be so cool.
Yeah, there's so many pictures posted of folks, taking selfies with their favorite content creators. It'll be so cool to meet some of our favorites too. In fact, we've already kind of scheduled one little photo up.
There will be a great meeting of the Katies. And I cannot wait.
Of the podcasting Katies.
The Lorcana podcasting Katies. We will finally come together and make a triangle of unity that will explode light through time and space.
It's like the Lorcana Voltron. Like, y'all get together. You'll finish 1, 2, 3 in the challenge, I know.
Maybe we'll all finish in first.
Yeah, so Katie from Live Laugh Lorcana and Katie from Hakuna Lorcana are going to meet up with Katie from Smorcana.
Yep. And then we're all going to be Katie.
Wild.
It's going to be pretty crazy. I think we all spell it the same way.
I think you do. I'm pretty sure you do. So can't wait for that photo op for sure. And, also Becky and Caleb, we're going to take the not Katie picture.
Yeah. You guys can all hang out in the not Katie picture.
And go listen to Live Laugh Lorcana and Hakuna Lorcana as ever. Some of the coolest podcasts going.
Yup.
Anyway, should we move on to our main course?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Good evening, madame.
Oh, hi, Francois.
Bonsoir. Comment ça va?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Aujourd'hui, we have a very special commemorative verre du vin for you. It is a special commemorative wine. We like to call it a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious wine.
Oh, wow. That's a mouthful right there.
It is a very luscious mouthful for you.
Oh, thank you.
It is a decadent. It is very important to us here. It is commemorates a great man.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's amazing. Did you hear that?
Yeah, this looks great. What is this?
It's a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious wine.
Ooh, okay.
He said it was going to be luscious in our mouths.
And it's it's made by Bob and Dick Sherman.
Yeah. So the Sherman brothers is what we're going to talk about today. This is a little bet you didn't know about Diz kind of main course here, I suppose.
Yeah, we wanted to feature this. Why, Katie?
Well, because just a few days ago, Richard Sherman passed. And he was one half of the Sherman Brothers songwriting team. So the Sherman Brothers were the first ever Disney Studio in-house songwriters. They were hired in 1961. They wrote so many songs that literally anyone knows. Even if you run into people who are like, I don't watch Disney movies. I haven't seen Disney movies in a long time. Everybody knows a Sherman Brothers song. They were incredible songwriters. To give you some of the classics that they've written, they wrote the Spectrum song. You know the Spectrum song?
No.
Red, yellow, green, red, blue, 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 red, purple, green, yellow, orange, red, red.
Oh,
Sung by Ludwig van Dreyck.
Yeah.
Blend them all in what you get. Chartreuse and aqua. Mauve, beige, and ultramarine. They wrote that. I could keep going.
I know you could. But boy, don't I know it.
Yeah. They wrote The Parent Trap. They wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, a fantastic song and a fantastic movie if you've never seen it. They also wrote Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and invented the word Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That is completely their creation. It's not in the Mary Poppins P.L. Travers story. They're creative geniuses in a lot of ways, right? They weren't just given songs to write to fit into a movie. They were the Disney in-house songwriters. So they would, be part of the creative process in making these legendary movies. They also wrote a lot of songs that you would find in Disney parks.
Oh.
They wrote the Tiki 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 Room.
No way.
That's them.
I love the Tiki Room.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. And the Carousel of Progress. They wrote that.
Wow, that's an earworm too.
I know.
I prefer the Tiki Room, but yeah, great.
You don't like the Carousel of Progress? It's the best. Carousel of Progress, quick sidebar here, is the only ride that's in Walt Disney World Resort that Walt Disney himself has been on.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, because it's the same thing that they used at the World's Fair. So he actually rode that exact one.
Well, now I appreciate it a little bit more. I especially appreciate it as a really nice place to sit in the air conditioning when you need it.
Do you want an extra sidebar?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, when you're in the Carousel of Progress, if you've never been in this before, folks, I'll give you a little taste of it. You're sitting in a room that spins around this stage, which shows an animatronic man going through the centuries of life in America and showing you progress through the country. So he gets a telephone, they get electricity, etc. It ends with him having a flat screen TV. So they originally showed this at the World's Fair for the animatronics and all that jazz. I love it. I think it's great. One of the extra fun facts that I'll give you is when you're in one of the scenes in the house, there are two little animatronic birds that are sitting outside the window. And those two animatronic birds are the same animatronic birds from Mary Poppins.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ain't that cool?
Little Easter egg.
Little Easter egg there for you.
I really do actually enjoy the Carousel of Progress. I actually really like there's a really cool use of theatrical scrim throughout that ride.
Yeah.
So scrim is a special fabric that you can't see through until you light something behind it. So it looks completely opaque, and then you light up a subject behind that piece of material, and you can then suddenly see through the scrim. It's extremely expensive and really, really cool when used with theatrical lighting.
Yeah. So that's them. You have them to thank for There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. They also wrote, perhaps most famously, I mean, I would argue that there are some songs in Mary Poppins that might be their most famous songs, but they wrote It's a Small World After All.
Now, I don't know whether to applaud them for that or
hate them.
Yeah, I mean, I love that song, but I understand that to some folks it grates after a while because it does get repeated a bit throughout the boat ride. It's
quite a repetitive tune. But they wrote it. I mean, that's them. You know, that's someone who was alive just a couple days ago wrote that. Like, that's crazy.
Really cool.
So they also wrote for The Jungle Book, Aristocats, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Pretty much any song you can think of from a Disney movie from the 60s or the 70s, that's them. You know, they wrote a lot of songs for the Musketeers. They wrote a lot of songs for Annette Funicello, the Parent Trap song, Tall Paul, Pineapple Princess, all those things are all them.
So they were Menken and Ashman before Menken and Ashman.
Honestly, yeah. And I can't think of anyone else who's really taken their place other than Alan Menken and Howard Ashman.
And they were more short-lived and focused only on film.
Right. And, you know, Dick and Bob Sherman were working very closely with Walt Disney, making these things happen, you know. They were nicknamed the Boys by everyone on the studio lot. You can see them in the movie called The Boys, which is all about their life. They had, according to the movie, they had a pretty tumultuous relationship, as sometimes artists do, you know, artists and brothers can have.
Now, I know these men from Saving Mr. Banks, the movie Saving Mr. Banks, which is about the creation of the movie adaptation of Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Which is a fantastic movie.
Oh, it's so good. If you get a chance to see it, it's on Disney Plus. It's very good.
It's a tremendous screenplay. Like, it's exceptionally well written.
And Bob Sherman passed away a while ago, but Dick Sherman was behind the scenes of Saving Mr. Banks and helping them capture the moments the way they really happened, which is so great to hear. Like, it's one of those things where you watch the movie and it seems really cool and you're like, wow, that's amazing. I wonder if Walt Disney was really like that. So to know that there was someone helping them to tell that story who was actually in that room as a fully aware, functioning adult in his professional job, like, it's so cool to have that intel from it a little bit. There aren't many people left alive who worked directly with Walt Disney, so it's cool to see it.
So thinking of the movie, it was B.J. Novak who played Bob.
Right.
And then it was Jason Schwartzman who played Dick, who just passed.
Yeah, and they co-wrote everything, right? They were songwriters together. But more often than not, it was Dick Sherman that would write the music, and Bob Sherman was more of the writer who would write the words, the lyrics. I mean, they collaborated on both things. They're credited for doing both. But if you get really deep into this research, and you watch those movies, or if you've seen any interviews with them, it's clear that, Dick was the one on the piano and Bob was the one adding the lyrics.
In the movie, some of those scenes, like you said, watching them create the music, like those are some of the best scenes in the film. Watching those moments of discovery where they realize how a spoonful of sugar should go musically. I mean, it was really, really thrilling.
Yeah, it's so inspiring. It's so thrilling. It's so cool.
There's one scene too that we haven't talked about, and one song we haven't talked about that's really, really significant.
Yeah, so it's Disney lore, and I guess a Disney fact, that Walt Disney's favorite song was Feed the Birds, which is a song from Mary Poppins, as you may know. If you don't know, stop this podcast right now and watch Mary Poppins and then come back and join us. But it was Walt Disney's favorite song. And in the movie Saving Mr. Banks, they have this beautiful scene where Dick Sherman is playing the piano and kind of fiddling around with Feed the Birds, and it's late at night and everyone's gone home and some people are still puttering and working on things as creative people do at odd hours and long into the night. And Walt Disney wanders into the studio and is just sitting there while Dick plays Feed the Birds. And it's just like a heart-wrenching scene. It's so beautiful, and it's just two artists looking at each other and thinking about, how they can tell this story, and it's just like, it's so cool to see. And it's so cool to know that he was there, and he could say, yeah, that's exactly how it happened, and help them to tell that story. It's awesome. If you've seen the short film Once Upon a Studio that's on Disney Plus that they made recently for the 100-year anniversary.
A super cool short. Go watch that for sure.
So good. Also pause this and go watch that and then come back. You've got a lot to watch if you haven't watched it.
Do your homework, people.
Do your homework, okay? But there is a shot of Mickey looking at Walt Disney and they play Feed the Birds behind him while he's looking at him. It's just one of those things that's like, a known Disney lore that Walt Disney loved that song, and it's beautiful.
And he loved it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's his favorite song. It's well known that he would often just ask Dick Sherman to play it on the piano because Dick Sherman was the pianist of the two of them and would be found noodling. And Walt Disney could ask people to do whatever he wants. He's Walt Disney.
And then they played that at his funeral too, at Walt Disney's funeral.
Yeah, very cool. A nice little end of the line there for them, because Dick and Bob started working at the Walt Disney Company in 1961, and Walt Disney passed away in 1966. So they didn't get a lot of time with him. They kept writing after his passing, but that collaboration was short and electric.
Really cool.
Yeah, very cool. He lived a long life. It was really cool that he was around for so long. I have a little story about Dick Sherman that it's kind of like a tangential story to meeting him. When I was working at Disneyland in California, one of my coworkers had moved on to a different position. She was like kind of in two different places. And I remember when she came back and had a shift at Autopia and I was working with her, she was telling me about how she had put Dick Sherman on It's a Small World. He had come to the park and he was writing It's a Small World. And it still makes my eye twitch a little bit that I didn't get to see him. But she put him on it and she was like, and I told him, thank you for writing the song. And I was like, I want to tell him thank you for writing the song. It was still really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm still jealous about it right now.
Well, maybe you can tell him thank you right now as we send him off into the great big beautiful tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Thanks, Dick. Thanks for your songs.
Thanks for all your songs, Dick. Keep writing them up there, I guess,
Monsieur, Madame, the buffet is ready for you. You can go up and choose anything you like from any of the over 800 options.
800? I thought we just had our main dish.
Oui, but perhaps you want a little nibble and we don't want to know what you want tonight, so we lay out everything. You can eat whatever you want.
Wow.
Wow, look at that. Whatever we want.
I love that.
Cool. So for our after dinner snack here,
yes,
we are going to talk about the top 10 cards to eat.
Yes, so this is if you could eat whatever is depicted on the card.
Like, not if you were eating the physical card, because then they'd all probably taste pretty similar.
Like paper.
They taste like cardboard and ink and whatever. This is like if the thing depicted in the card was in front of you, would it taste good to eat?
Yes.
The top 10 of those.
I cannot wait for this.
Now, quick note, it's really easy to talk about the worst cards to eat.
That's obvious. You got poisoned apple.
Yep, and fidget. Because you don't want to start a pandemic, you know?
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
Yeah, so don't eat bats, folks.
Don't.
I guess. I don't know. That's probably some kind of like weird distortion of truths, but...
Yeah, but let's not start. Let's not tempt fate.
Let's not eat fidget anyway.
Yeah, let's leave them alone.
All right, these are in no particular order.
Right. What's the first one? What's number 1 here?
Let's get the easy ones out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think popsicle would probably
Yes.
be fine.
Obviously.
It's like a cherry popsicle, right?
Yeah, popsicle is easy. Popsicle's nice. It's a popsicle.
It's a treat. Yummy.
But you wouldn't want to eat the gumbo pot or the sardine can.
Yeah.
Like they're not all going to be obvious like that. They have to be a food that we'd want to eat.
Yeah, so
card.
So yeah, just to be clear, like we're saying that within this category, like the popsicle is edible, but like the gumbo pot, the sardine can, and the coconut basket are clearly referring to food vessels.
Clearly.
And so it wouldn't taste as good. It doesn't say gumbo, sardine, and coconut. So
yeah, get out of town.
So we're going with popsicle kind of in this category as a good edible treat.
Yes.
Next up.
Next one's marshmallow.
Yeah.
Marshmallow is, again, our mascot in a way for this podcast. So we have a soft spot for him anyways. But he's a marshmallow. I mean, are we dumb?
He's at worst ice.
Or like a cold marshmallowy treat, which sounds incredible.
I think he's a cold marshmallow treat. I'm going to eat some of that for sure. But, even if he was just, I don't know, like a snow monster, like you can eat snow, like that's fine. It's not going to be bad. So it's like all upside with marshmallow. So eating marshmallow would be good. And you could like take a little bite out of him. He probably wouldn't notice.
All an upside.
He's really big.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else looks good here? Oh, yeah, Pumbaa.
Yeah, Pumbaa.
Grab some Pumbaa.
You gonna eat Pumbaa?
Yeah, you can, throw an apple into the mouth and roast him over a flame.
They almost do in Lion King.
I know, that's what gave me the
if
idea.
You're looking for a hunk of fat and juicy meat, eat my buddy Pumbaa here because he is a treat. He's fine. All you gotta do is get in line. Are you aching?
Yup.
For some bacon.
Yup.
He's a big pig.
Yup.
You could be a big pig too.
Hoy!
Yeah, so that, I guess initially I was a little upset about that because I love Pumbaa. I don't really want to roast him, but he would be pretty tasty.
You can't be upset. This is what we want to eat.
I know. Okay, I'm
it's
sorry.
No commentary on his usefulness to, the pride or anything. It's just about what looks good to eat, Katie.
And he does look good to eat.
He looks good to eat,
All right.
okay? Now, we could have gone with Pua in this category, but there's not enough meat on Pua. He's too small.
Also, Pooh is so tiny and cute and fuzzy.
I don't care if he's cute. It's about whether he would taste good to eat. And there's not enough meat on him yet.
Fatten up Pooh and then we'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 3 kind of options that look kind of similar here.
Yeah, we've got a dish of crabs coming up next.
We can either have Tamatoa drab little crab or Merlin crab.
I would say no to Merlin crab and no to drab little crab for the same. Drab little crab's like Pua to me, right? That's not enough meat.
Well, big Tamatoa is too tough. It's just withered and it'd be hard to get through the shell. It's way too much work. So the drab little crab, bring him down to Maryland. They know what to do with him.
Next, we're talking about some poultry.
Yeah,
Some chicken.
I think Orville looks good.
He looks like he's got the most meat on him.
Yeah.
And he's also kind of like, he's a little bit of like a D-list character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't want to be a Philistine and be like, I'm only going for the most food. It seems like I'm prioritizing quantity here, and I'm really not. I think Hey Hey would be too stringy.
Hey Hey is stringy. There's no way he tastes good.
Diablo has some kind of like poison in his veins from being that close to the Forbidden Mountain.
Yeah.
Pico, I don't know. That's a lot of beak.
I don't want to eat a toucan.
Yeah, Iago, kind of the same thing. And he's like,
Iago has teeth.
He has teeth. You
don't want to deal with that. That's gross.
And a beak, and he's small anyway. So I think Orville gives you the most bang for the buck. So we'll grab a plate of Orville. This is looking good. We've got some Pumbaa, got some crab meat.
Now, what we're saying next may upset you.
No,
may
why?
Upset you.
Why are you upset? Listen.
We're gonna eat flounder. We're eating flounder.
Yeah, flounder.
Flounder.
I mean, flounder is something you can just order at the grocery store already.
Roast him, saute him up with some lemon and a Sauv Blanc.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's flounder, baby.
That's good.
You know what I will say? I'm okay with eating flounder, but it can't be the prepubescent hairy flounder of Ursula's Return.
He looks too human.
He's terrible.
The anthropomorphic features are
it's
too
like
strong.
Weird, yeah. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's too much hair to work through.
Okay.
We got to do the first flounder.
The first flounder, or
the tutu.
Even the live action flounder would be fine. I mean, it's just flounder.
Live action flounder is a lot easier to eat because he just looks like a fish.
That's what I'm talking about. Again, we're not going to get sentimental here. This is strictly about eating the cards.
Yeah, don't get us wrong here. We're talking about eating the cards.
Don't feel bad about the characters, because the characters are fine.
Yeah, they're fine. It's not real unless it is.
It's just about which of them you want to eat. That's all.
Yeah, relax.
What would taste good? Chill out,
Calm
people.
down.
Yeah.
Stop it. We can hear you all the way from Finland. Relax.
All right, so that's what we've done. We've done like 5, 6 so far. All right, here's one. Jiminy Cricket and or Cricky. All you got to do is you pulverize them. All right? You powder them. You put them in a protein shake.
Yeah.
That's good.
Dear listener, I wish you could see how serious Brett's face is when he turns to me and says, Jiminy Cricket or Cricky pulverized. It's incredible. Stone cold. Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm into it.
I'm into not sentimental.
They're bugs. They're bugs. Jiminy Cricket's a bug.
Listen, I'm letting conscience be my guide, and my conscience is telling me that you can eat Jiminy Cricket and or Cricky without remorse.
Oh my gosh.
All you got to do, grind them up with your mortar and pestle.
And always let your conscience be your guide.
Exactly. You pick them up, you put them right down in the mortar and pestle, you just grind him in
whistle.
To a little powder. And no, by that point, he wouldn't be singing anymore. And Cricky doesn't even talk.
Right, Cricky is straight up a bug.
So just like pound him there, get him into a nice little powder, right? A nice little crunch. I mean, you don't even have to do that. You can just straight up, toss that right in your mouth. Like,
oh God,
that can be good for you. Listen, if you're hungry and you see a delicious cricket, you're going to eat that cricket.
Even if he has shoes and a hat and an umbrella and a little vest.
Listen, you might have to shuck him first.
You have to shuck him.
Yeah.
So if you shuck Jiminy Cricket and put him in your blender, he's going to be tasty.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
At worst, he's like a little bit of extra protein that you don't taste. Like if you put him in a milkshake or something like that after your workout. But at best, he's a crunchy snack. A little salt. It'll be good. Just got to make sure the legs don't get stuck in your teeth. But other than that, you'll be good to go.
Just pluck them out.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. We've got Beast thick-skinned. Now he's a chunky boy.
Yeah, he's got that belly. He's plumped up there. That'd be good.
He's chunky. I think he's the beast to pick.
There's also a lot of food there. That's a lot. I'm not just going for quantity. It's just an upside. But yeah, he's the right beast to pick for sure.
He looks like beef. He looks like roast beef.
Yeah. Forbidding Recluse is like a rock.
Well, he's stone. He's like made of stone.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Wounded is like tainted.
Yeah, he's got blood all over him. Like, that's gross.
And like Ursula's entanglements are running through his body. Like, that's not going to taste good.
Yeah, you're going to get a disease from that for sure.
There's wolfsbane, but I feel like there'd be like a rabies risk or something. Like some kind of tainted meat there too.
Yeah, it's also kind of like a disease.
Right. Like if a rabid wolf has bit this meat, it could turn on you, you know?
Yeah, no thanks.
I don't know if you can get rabies from eating things, but I don't want to chance it.
But I bet we'd find a way.
There's tragic hero meat.
No, sad meat.
Yeah, you want your meal to have lived a happy life, right?
Yeah, happy chickens or whatever they say, right?
Yeah. So happy beasts will taste better.
We'll have a farm of free-range beasts.
Yeah.
That'll taste good.
Yeah.
Just wandering around.
You can feed a whole Disney Lorcana Challenge competitor crowd with one beast thick-skinned.
Oh, for sure.
So.
And we'll plan to do that.
Yeah. A couple more, maybe?
There's a couple more. So there's one here that you have on your list.
Yeah.
This is Lumiere
and
the Miracle Candle.
The Miracle Candle, yeah.
Why? Why?
Well, because like, you know how like, do you ever like eat wax at different times as a kid?
No.
Well, like, okay, like here's
Did
an
I ever
example.
Eat wax at different times as a kid?
Yeah, like
what?
Here's what I'm thinking, right? Like, you know how like sometimes you have like cherry chapstick as a kid and you'd like put it on your lips
and
then
you'd lick
like
it off your
and
lips?
you'd like scrape it off your teeth and eat it kind of? No? Okay.
Scrape
what
it
about
off
like
your teeth?
Or like, you know how like there were those little soda bottle candies? It was like a little wax bottle in the shape of a soda bottle.
I do know that.
Okay,
yes.
right. So like you'd have to bite the top off, and then like you could kind of like drink out the little soda.
Right.
But like sometimes maybe you'd like kind of bite into it to like get more out of it, and you'd like eat some of that wax bottle. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, listen. There aren't that many appetizing opportunities. Like, I'm not saying this is the best thing to eat. I'm just saying that if we're going to pick top 10 cards to eat from this buffet, if Lumiere was in front of me and I was starving, like, Lumiere kind of looks like something I would eat.
What you're saying is you want to chew on Lumiere.
I don't want to.
No, go ahead, say it. You want to chew on Lumiere.
I mean, relative to other things, like, relative to, like, you know...
A coconut basket?
Yeah, like a woven basket. Like, how could you? That would hurt. You'd get like spindles in your gut, you know?
You get a ball of wax in your gut.
I mean, like, I feel like that would be okay, relatively speaking. Listeners, this is not medical advice. Please don't eat wax. But unless you're really, really hungry.
No, don't. Not even if you're really, really hungry, don't do it, please.
So that just made my list. I'm thinking if we're looking at the top 10 cards to eat at the Lorcana buffet, Lumiere and or the Miracle Candle, which probably tastes extra good and waxy, on the list.
Good luck with that. I'll skip the candle course here.
Suit yourself.
Okay, this last one is the Vitalosphere.
Yeah.
The Vitalosphere does sound like an energy drink or something.
Yeah, it sounds like there'd be a Pfizer ad for it.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Get your Vitalosphere. Vitalosphere needs to be injected monthly.
Things aren't the same as they used to be.
Ask your doctor about Vitalosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm into that. I'm not thinking about chomping down on a metal Vitalosphere.
Right, you'd either like swallow it like a pill, or it's like a hard candy that you kind of suck on.
Yeah, or it's like, put into a drink.
The Fortisphere looks absolutely disgusting in contrast.
Who would eat that?
Nobody, but the Vitalosphere, now you're talking.
Sounds good, too.
I just can't wait for the, the Heliosphere, the amber version of whatever this is going to be.
Yeah.
That'll be yummy.
Yeah, we'll sprinkle that on top of our candles and eat it right up.
Yum. So there you go, folks. If you have the ability to magically draw any of these cards into life like so many glimmers and then can roast and eat them, we recommend that you start with the aforementioned 10 options.
Yeah, eat them up. Gobble, gobble. Okay, that was a delicious dinner.
Yum, yum. We needed that a little bit of a free range of options after our lovely celebration wine that we had.
Yeah, I think it was great. I'm really jazzed about these dream cards. that Brett has cooked up for this week.
Yeah, my breath tastes kind of waxy, so I could use a little mint.
Yeah, we need some mints. We need a couple dream cards. I think we need 2 because of how much wax we just ate.
I've been chowing down on some candles, folks, so.
That Vitalisphere has a weird aftertaste, so I can't wait.
Kind of metallic.
Yeah.
So, this week, we have 2 dream cards. They buff a couple of my other favorite art cards that already exist in the game, and I would love to see these characters introduced. These are characters that we actually Disney bounded as.
Yes. So after we got married, we took a short trip, a little mini moon, down to Walt Disney World, and we went to our first and only Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
It was so much fun, and because they encourage you to come in costume, we dressed up as
Roger and Anita from 101 Dalmatians. It was great. We might put a picture of it up actually on our Instagram with these dream cards.
Oh, we totally should.
Show off our fits.
It's actually from our first day as a married couple. This is what we did, is we dressed as Roger and Anita.
And it's been great ever since.
Yeah, so this is marriage advice for anybody who's considering that. Just dress up as Disney characters. You'll do well.
Dress up as a Disney couple that you aspire to be. Roger and Anita are the best. And these cards look dank.
All right, so these go together. We have first a 3-cost amber character, Roger, Pongo's pet. He is a 3 strength, 2 willpower, 1 lore character with Ward. He is a Storyborn ally, and he has the ability Look Out for Cruella, which says your characters named Pongo gain Ward.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love him, and I love that ability. His flavor text says, "My, where did they all come from?"
Whoa, Pongo, you old rascal.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. We love Roger.
Yeah, and he's watching out for his buddy Pongo.
Yeah. Beautifully storyborn, this whole line of, him giving Ward, because it's what they do in the movie.
And I think the ideal line would be something like you play Roger on 3 into Pongo on 4, but you could also play Roger and the 3-drop Pongo later in the game and make sure you get continual card draw moving forward. Could be really cool. And then we have Roger's lovely partner, Anita. Anita is a 5-cost amber character. Anita Perdita's pet. She has 2 strength, 5 willpower, 1 lore. She has Ward, and she's also a Storyborn ally, just like Roger. She also has the ability Look Out for Cruella, but hers says your characters named Perdita gain Ward.
Yeah, and she's a little beefier than Roger. She's a 5-cost, she's got a bigger butt, and her flavor text says, "I'm afraid we can't give them up. Poor Perdita. She'd be heartbroken." Because she's protecting the pups.
Yeah. And so you have this cool line where you could go like Roger on 3, Pongo on 4, Anita on 5, Perdita on 6.
Yeah, really cool.
Would be really, really fun. I love Perdita so much. One of my absolute favorite cards in the whole game. I love her mechanically. I love what she does. I love the art so much with those fallen leaves on the ground and backing her text box. So I would love this card because it would just let you protect that Perdita. It would be so much fun.
Yeah, I, again, really want to put these cards into the game. I'm sure Roger and Anita will show up at some point in Lorcana, but we love them so much. I can't wait. I can't wait to play with them. It would be so cool. Wow. And thus ends episode 16.
Great variety of topics covered tonight. We had some pathos and some history in the form of that discussion of Mr. Richard Sherman. We had a little bit of information doled out in the form of, like survival tips, right? Like the 10 things you could eat. It's important to know that what's edible and what's not, right? So
survival tips here, folks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're saving your life on this podcast.
It's almost like we're a pseudo camping podcast anyway with our s'more theme. So
pretty much that's why we're popular in Finland.
Yeah.
What are we talking about next week on episode? I'll remind you again, 17. Doesn't 17 sound like a lot?
Every single time we say what episode we're on, it sounds like a lot.
It feels like last week we said we were on like 11 though, right? Am I crazy?
Well, it would be really easy to just have done like 1 and said like, but here we are. We're still digging it.
I know, we're addicted.
So next week, we're going to talk about the importance of losing.
Yeah, a hot topic right now in the world of Lorcana.
Yeah, it's something that I've been pondering, and it's something that I want to delve into. I think it's an important topic for playing TCGs. And we'll also get into our first bit of a real meta overview.
Yeah, we'll really be able to hop into it, like we were saying, over the next week or so. We'll finally be able to really get in and play those games and start getting a little entrenched in the meta. Hopefully hit up a couple of game stores, play some games against other people that aren't just the two of us, and kind of get a feel of what's going on out there.
Really looking forward to that. Until then, please do join us on social media. You can find us at Twitter at Smorcana,
on Facebook at Smorcana,
on Instagram at Smorcana,
on Gmail at smorcana@gmail.com.
Please do consider giving us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. It really, really helps us make sure that folks can find the podcast if they're looking for a Lorcana podcast. We really appreciate hearing from all of you. And until then, keep on pony trekking, y'all.
Keep on eating those candles.